So we are really excited that your X-Carve Pro is about to be shipped to you. Now there's a few things that you might want to do before the X-Carve Pro arrives because it's a pretty good size. The first thing you're going to want to think through is the actual space that this is going to go into. So this is the actual footprint, but our recommendation is to have a table that is a little bit bigger. For that, for the 4x2, you're looking at a 6 foot by 3 foot table that can hold at least 500 pounds. And then for the 4x4, you're looking at a 6 foot by 6 foot table that can hold 600 pounds. Now, these space recommendations are also to make the assembly of the entire X-Carve Pro easier. You're gonna have a little black box that has all the connections you need to go into your computer, as well as your big red stop button. We call that whole unit the HMI, and that's gonna live right next to your X-Carve Pro. And then this comes with pretty long cables to attach your computer to that unit, and your computer can be wherever you need it inside your shop. Now, getting a table that can support 500 or 600 pounds doesn't mean the X-Carve Pro itself weighs that much. We'll actually get into the weight here in a minute. We just wanna give you margin for not only the machine, but also the material that you're gonna be putting on top of. Like a 4x8 sheet of plywood weighs a good bit, but you could also add in more material as well on top of your machine to go onto your table. Now that's the actual table, but let's talk about the work area, so the in feed and the out feed. Because if you're gonna be doing tiling with this, then you wanna be looking at something that can hold a 4x8 foot sheet on both ends. So we recommend an 8 foot by 14 foot area that you can actually put your machine into. Now in the X-Carve overview video, which we've linked right up there or down in the description, I actually put mine on a table that is pretty much the exact footprint of this. And because of that, I actually have to run my laptop in a different spot. So be thinking through how you wanna connect your computer, and if you're gonna have enough room to have that with the actual table. And with that, mine is actually on casters because I don't have a lot of room in my shop. So I definitely moved this thing around to be able to get it into the spot. Now, when it's on casters, it's not gonna be quite as stable as if you have something directly on the ground. So you're gonna make sure you've got some solution to where even if you're pushing up against this thing, it's not gonna be vibrating or moving all around. Now, one of the recommendations we have is actually to pick up 2 of these units from Uline. You can put those together and they do a really great job of holding the machine as well as giving you lots of storage underneath. All right, so let's talk about dust collection. So the actual dust collection system comes with a 2-inch hose. This is actually the end of it. So you can connect this directly into a shop vac with a pretty simple connector, or if you have a bigger 4-inch dust collection system, you would just need to reduce that down to be able to connect it to the 2-inch that is actually connected to the machine. So the dust collection system actually attaches directly to the X-Carve Pro itself with this connector. And then from there, you can take that hose and plug it into whatever you need. This is gonna be delivered by the FedEx Freight Direct program, which is really great even if you aren't in an industrial space. They're gonna give you a call beforehand to let you know when they're going to arrive, and they'll give you about a 2-hour window on when to actually expect it. Now, all the trucks have lift gates, so they'll be able to grab a pallet jack and pull it off of their truck. But then they will actually roll it all the way across whatever threshold you have for your shop and actually put it in the place that you want it. But in my case, I'm actually in a residential area, and they pulled the truck up onto the main street. They grabbed it on the pallet jack and they pulled it all the way up my pretty steep driveway, which is great, and then dropped it right into the spot that I wanted it inside of my shop. So the actual package is going to come in this box. You can see the dimensions right there. And then the weight will depend again on if you have the 4x2 or the 4x4 unit. Now, you're not gonna have to pick up all 300 pounds all at once because you're going to assemble this right on the table. You will need a couple people to help you actually move the gantry, which is about 100 pounds. But once you have that in place, everything else can be done just by yourself. Now, we've designed the packaging so you don't actually have to take everything out of the box all at once, but as you go through the entire assembly process, it's already in the steps that you need it inside the box. So you shouldn't need a ton of extra room other than your actual work table that you're gonna be assembling the entire X-Carve Pro on. So this actually just plugs directly into a 110 volt standard outlet. You're gonna wanna make sure you're on a 15 amp circuit, just so once the spindle is running, as well as all of the axes are moving, you're not gonna trip any breakers. All right, so that's the X-Carve Pro itself, but in a separate delivery, you're going to get 2 clamp sets. You're going to get a 1/4-inch bit, a planing bit, as well as a V-carve bit. Now, the clamp sets that you'll get are these wooden clamps that have the threaded inserts across the entire wasteboard, but you also will be getting a T-track version of this wasteboard with a couple clamps, but that wasteboard is gonna be coming a little bit later. So the accessory kit is separate, but that doesn't include the tools you need to put this thing together. Those will actually be in the X-Carve Pro box. You have everything right there to put it together once this thing arrives. That includes things like the torque wrench, so you actually make sure you get all the tensions right on all of the bolts and screws to put this thing together. All right, we hope you guys are getting excited about your X-Carve Pro. As always, if you have questions beforehand or throughout the entire process, feel free to give us a call or reach out over email. And we will see you very soon once your X-Carve Pro arrives, and we'll walk through the entire setup and assembly process.